morning, my beautiful listeners, and welcome to another episode of, and again, I wanted to say, how did you show the Endless Mindset podcast, which we rebranded recently. So, hello, everybody, and welcome. I am very excited for today's episode. I'm bringing you someone very inspiring, a very good friend of mine who is an absolute expert in the hospitality world, holiday-let industry, absolute expert in direct bookings, a head coach at Boostly currently, family man, and also a podcaster, a one and only Liam Carolan. Hello, Liam, and welcome to the show.
Hello, Lenx. Thank you for that beautiful introduction. That was very nice. I need to have you come with me everywhere and present me like that.
I can be your personal introducer.
Sounds good to me.
It's like, Lenka, what's your title? I'm a Liam's personal introducer. How are you, Liam, today?
I'm very good. Yeah, very well.
I'm super excited to have you on the show. I've been waiting now we've been planning this for maybe 3 months or something. So yeah, I'm so happy that this is finally happening. Can't wait to share your story with everyone. You are a very inspiring man. You are a very good friend of mine as well. So yeah, let's tell everybody else why you're so amazing. So for those who don't know you, can you tell us a little bit more about who is Liam?
Sure. And first of all, thank you for inviting me along. I'm excited to be here and yeah, eager to share my story and to see what questions come along today. So my name's Liam. I'm based in Norwich in Norfolk, close to the Norfolk Broads for anybody listening, which is an area of outstanding beauty. I run a holiday let business. I'm 35 years young, father to a 5-year-old called Harry. My little boy's called Harry, and fiance to my better half, Charlotte, or Charlie for short. The two businesses which I run are both holiday let focused. So one is a rent to serviced accommodation business, and the other one is a management serviced accommodation business. Both go underneath Ginger and Gold, which I'm branded up for anyone watching on the on here, or anyone who can see the picture. But yeah, really, I look after 20 units now we're up to. And in May, you mentioned last year, I was lucky enough to start working for Boostly as a head coach there. And just to continue my hospitality journey, knowledge building, and to share that with others, really, which has been really cool. And then shortly after that became a co-host of Mark Simpson's Boostly podcast, which I was completely honored to do so, and allows me to have cool conversations like this. And I know we've spoke sort of over the years in passing, but it's allowed me to have connections like this with hosts like yourself, links, which is cool. Other than that, hobby wise, I love snowboarding and playing board games.
Oh, nice. What a different, snowboarding from like extreme sports to board games. Love
Well,
it.
yeah, you've got to have something to do in the evening when you're across there. So yeah.
Yeah. See, this is one of the reasons why we have such a good connection as well. We have many things in common. And I also love extreme sports and I also love board games. I have the biggest selection of board games anyone ever seen.
Oh,
So, yeah,
amazing.
huge fan. What's your favorite board game?
So I discovered one recently called Cash Flow, which is like Monopoly on steroids, and yeah,
From
really
Robert
enjoyed.
Kiyosaki?
Yes, yeah, that was his one, and yeah, that's an interesting game, and yeah, just it's like playing Monopoly, but based on the game of life, really, something like that.
Amazing, yeah. And they have also different levels of them as well, from like children
Mhm.
to medium, but they're so expensive, aren't they, those games? Like very expensive because it's a big brand. So
Yeah,
it's
they are. I think they're overpriced, definitely. But try and find a friend who's, a bunch of people could buy it together, couldn't they? You know,
yeah,
because it's one of those games where you've got to have people to play it with.
absolutely. Yeah, brilliant. Well done, well done. Love that. Yeah, so Liam, so you've mentioned a lot of a property related things that you do. So
Mhm.
why did you decide, or when did you decide to start in property? How did your property journey started?
So back in I've got a history of working in retail. I've always worked in retail since I was about 17, left school and just started off in retail. Um, Over a period of time up to the age of around just after 30, I'd become a manager. I had a department store that was under my control, 35 staff, and my son had just been born, so life had changed a lot. And they say that when your kid comes along, it's one of the most biggest moments of change in life, and it certainly was for me. So I started to consider all the things that I'd been doing. And traditionally, my day went like this, where I'd wake up at 5:30, I'd be at work by 6:30 at the latest, and then I'd work until 5:30 or later at times. And that would literally be it, 5 or 6 days a week sometimes. And I sort of could see the next 15 years of life, and I just didn't like it. I could literally go, well, if I carry on doing this, I could become, perhaps an area manager, but the kind of reach was there was a ceiling to where I was going to reach. And also, more to the point, that my son had been born, and I wanted to make sure I've got time to spend with him. And so I decided to start looking around at something else. I didn't know what that something else was going to be. As many of us do, the first thing that I went to was Google, and I literally typed in one day, what are the best careers to look at to make money? Because I realized that I was going to need money to, push forward. And I ended up finding a book by Rob Moore called Money. It literally is called Money. And I listened to it on Audible, as well as consuming a lot of other sort of content and podcasts and things at the time. And that led me down into, Rob Moore is an excellent marketer, and it led me down into a funnel. I ended up at a free property event, and the word Masopi, that's it. Yeah, free. That was the 2-day event where literally you're pitched to, but it's great for beginners. As somebody like myself who had no idea about property at all, it was great. And on that stage, this is sort of November 2018. Kevin Peneskis said the word serviced accommodation, which I'd never heard before in my life. And he sort of told me the story, and I just went, well, that makes sense. I don't have a lot of money, to invest, if anything at all. And I can I can rent somebody else's property, re-let it out, and cash flow that way. And it just made sense to me. So I immediately spent too much money on my credit card to pay for the course. And and
credit card swiping moments on Mesopi.
Exactly, yeah. If you ever
Been
go there,
done that.
exactly. I should have left the credit cards in the car, but I mean, I was pretty clear that I wanted to do something. I was sure I was going to do something from that weekend. And then when I got home from that weekend, I think we spoke just before we went live on here. And, as soon as I've, I want to find something out, I will spend ages researching it, whether that's a movie star in film roles or stuff like that. And so I just went to town with searching serviced accommodation, trying to find out as much information as I could. And I ended up finding somebody called Camilla Zolik, and she was, or still is, a service accommodation operator. And I think I became one of her first mentees. I basically reached out to her and said,
"Hey, I
hey,
did not know that." Yeah,
I was one of her first mentees, and first or second, I think I was the second one. But so I again stuck the mentorship on the credit card because we didn't have any cash to invest. And by January by about January, February, the courses came along. I learned everything I needed to know. Camilla was excellent, by the way, as if anyone's considering mentorship. And we ended up getting the first unit in May, June of 2019. And from there, I can actually remember getting the first unit as a rent serviced accommodation, kitting it out. And then I was still working full time at this stage. And I remember sitting there in a meeting and my phone dinged saying, you've got a booking for 500 odd pounds. And I remember thinking, this is bizarre. I've literally just sitting here in this meeting talking to someone, earned more from that little ding on my phone than I could do from a day or a couple of days work or whatever it is. So and the rest is history.
Power of it.
Yeah, so that's really how I got started. From there, continued to grow and got to 2-3 years later now, looking after sort of 20 units. So
that's amazing. And you have a business partner as well now, I believe, no?
Yeah, I do. So along the journey, I've got a business partner. We've now taken on a couple of virtual assistants as well to help us, and also now a cleaning team. You start to build up more and more people, and that's one of the best moments.
Amazing.
Definitely taking on a business partner.
That's amazing. So when did you then decided to leave your previous job?
Good question. So I had been told, and this is great advice, only leave your main form of income when your side hustle equals the money or you're earning more from it. And that was exactly what in my head I was like, right, all I need to do is keep going on this side hustle. And eventually, when I'm earning more from that job than I am from, this job, I say job loosely, I thought I'll skip and I'll move into that full time. It got to
Yeah.
Christmas time in retail, and Christmas time in retail is awful. We were moving house. We had just had a bereavement in the family as well. And literally, it just got to a point where I was looking at the income. By that time, we had 3 units. And I was looking at the income and I was just going, do you know what? I think that if I let go of this branch, I think I could probably catch that branch because, it started already. And that looking back was probably a mistake. It was too early because this is December 2019, so 6 months after the first unit launched. And on the 23rd of December, 2 days before Christmas, I just phoned up my area manager and said, "I'm done. I don't want to come back." That's it. I thank you for your time and that, and moved full time into service accommodation, and suddenly realised that I just got rid of the income and that I actually needed to make it pay. So yeah, that was a scary moment, but
Mm.
especially looking at the mindset of it all, that if you're confident that you can, we had tried and tested that method, and it was clear that I was putting, a lot of hours, minimum 40, but probably more like 60 hours into work. Well, if I was to put that same time into doing holiday service accommodation, my gamble was that was going to pay off. And I'm glad I did, looking back.
Oh, that's amazing. Oh, well done you. Well done you. I love that story. Very inspiring. Told you a very inspiring person. I
Thank you.
as you said, it is very scary because it's like you're losing, yes, you have sort of like you replace that income, but then you're losing an income. So once you are used to kind of like you had this income and you also had another income, you're like,
Yeah,
yes, I can leave this job now, but suddenly you're incomeless, one of them incomeless. So
exactly. And
it
of
is
course,
scary.
you know, uh, 3 months later, COVID kicked off as well. So I just replaced my income, and then COVID came along. So
I actually
yeah,
was
that was
thinking, yeah, to ask if that, but that was about around the COVID time, yeah.
yeah, it was. But
Was
hey,
it tough? Did
if
you, sorry.
it was really tough for a while, and there was moments where literally, I remember one day I literally sat down. I went, "Do I need to go and get a job at Morrison's? Like, do I need to just go and get a part-time job just to cover it?" And fortunately, we managed to go through it. We did have a little bit of savings, and that saved us. So certainly, if anybody's listening and considering doing that, just make sure there is, worst case scenario. But straight after that, things got better. We managed to get a big contract during COVID. And again, when you've got to be resourceful, you'll find a way.
That's amazing. And again, Liam, like I can't believe you said the word Morrison's. What happened to me very briefly, yeah, like I've started I've lost income like loads of people during the COVID. Loads of people lost jobs. I was one of them. And that was when I was just about to I just started to basically started to look for my first holiday let. I managed to find my first two people who wanted to give me properties. And that when my first two where the COVID started. So I haven't even had them yet. And the COVID started. So kind
Oh,
of
no.
obviously like I obviously didn't take them on because we didn't know what's going to happen. It's not I already had them. I didn't have them yet. We were just in the process of getting the contracts ready. And I lost my income. And I went to I was like, right, I need to find a job. And I was new in the area because we just moved to Devon. And I've heard that Morrison's, it's basically, and I used to be like a fine dining hospitality manager and all that. So I had jobs, like a career jobs before. And I've heard that Morrison's is looking, they are opening a new department, a home delivery department, and they're looking for everybody, including management. So I went there to apply. I went there to have a chat. There were 180 people applying. Only 3 got the management position, and only 60 got the pickers, what they call them. And I got the management position out of 180 people.
Ah, well done.
So I was very chuffed that I got this management position. But it's funny that you said Morrison's. Out of any other shops or any other work, I actually ended up one of those that I lost my income when the COVID hit. I was literally about to start my holiday let business, but luckily at that point, because obviously what would I do? Like, new in the area, I was literally lost income and everything. And I got the job at Morrison's as a manager.
Nice. Do you know what? Morrison's the reason that's our local sort of store, and yeah, they were hiring, and I heard other people. I mean, there was like teachers and doctors. There was all sorts of people applying for Morrison's, wasn't there? So yeah, I always said, and I still say this to this day. There's nothing I wouldn't do to make sure that we've got income. I'm not too proud to go and do I'll do what we need to do at the end of the day, and that's exactly the right way to do things.
Absolutely. Well done. I think, it's very important to being entrepreneur to have a mindset of do whatever it takes. As you said, the pride, it's what kills a lot of entrepreneurs when you think, oh, I'm too good for this or something like that. It's like, no, you do what it takes, basically. And so well done. Love that mindset. So obviously you've done You've been on a journey. You basically survived COVID. Not just survived, you thrilled through COVID. You've expanded as well. You obviously grew your team, etc. You left the job, so you had an amazing journey with your holiday let business. Now, what would you think was like your biggest mistake, or what was like the biggest regret, or you know what I mean?
So biggest mistake. I'd say, sticking with the theme of this, I'd say that mindset held me back massively. Not just in in business, but in general. So one of the things I wasn't sure that I could do in the early days was to manage a property for somebody else. My expectation was I needed to have something and prove it really works well, and then go off and manage. And I think it was only 2 months after I had my first rent to SA, I had an opportunity to manage somebody else's property. They said, oh, you do that? Here's an awesome property. And it was an awesome property as well. We've still got it to this day. And I remember just thinking, well, I still don't know whether I can do rent to SA. I still don't know whether I can do that. And my mindset was like, do you know what? It's probably best just say no. Just say no, get rid of that, and just concentrate on, stay in my lane and concentrate on what I need to. And I actually had a word with my mentor, Camilla, at the time, and she said, no, you're crazy. Why wouldn't you say yes to this opportunity? Is it good property? I was like, yeah. So you think it's going to cash flow? Yeah. Do you think you can, would you do everything you can to make sure the client is looked after? I was like, well, yeah, of course I would, if I'm going to do it. And she was like, so does it make sense that you're then saying no? Could that person go to somebody else and have a worse manager? And I was like, well, yeah, obviously. And so you just go, hang on, why aren't I saying yes? It's just because I didn't.
Well done, Camilla.
Exactly, yeah. And it's one of those things where just because there was stuff that I didn't know and about management and a steep learning curve, but ultimately just by saying yes, and you then become resourceful again, and you go off and find what you need to. So definitely mindset has held me back in the past. Even to a degree where we've now got a team of cleaners. I wasn't sure in the early days if I could find the right cleaners. I remember saying to my business partner, hey, I don't know if we want to scale past 10 units, and we're now at double that. And all of this is based around that same thing, going, well, I'm not sure if we can. And that's that mindset holding you back. Whereas one thing that I've learned, the rule that I've really learned, is that experience teaches you if you need more of it. And by doing something, you'll experience it, and you'll decide whether or not it's for you, and you need to do more of it. And long term now, what I try and do is think long term into the future. So I go, what is the business? What do I want the business to look like? Or who do I want to be, I guess is a better way of doing it. Who do I want to be in 10 years, 15 years? Think as long term as I can imagine ahead, and then work back from there. So if if I want to be able to help people and advise people, well, then I'm going to have to get uncomfortable, advising it. There's got to be a first person. There's got to be, you've got to take that first step. So yeah, definitely thinking long term and working the way back is one thing I look at. Yeah, and
It's a great answer. It's a great answer. Sorry.
thank you. What one other thing, just jumping in. Mark Simpson, his quote is, "Done is better than perfect," and I used to think I needed the perfect the perfect model, the perfect management model to go
Waiting
off
for
and
all
manage
the ducks to be in a row, but you know.
exactly. Just go and, do you know what, I can't do this until, like you say, all there is. What you can do, as long as you get started, you adjust course as you go. And yeah, I now think, um instead of when we've got to make a big decision in the business or in life, often we're looking for instance, the perfect software to use or something like that. We're always going, well, is this the best software? Is this the right software for me? Whereas now I'm looking at it going, well, to what degree does this get me closer to my goal? To what degree is this the right software for me? Or to what degree, if I hire this person, will they help, with the business? And as soon
Mhm.
as I've got rid of that absolute, that's helped with that mindset, that's got rid of that procrastination, going, well, I'm not sure I can. Now it's a
Mhm.
case of, well, what can I do? What can I put in place which will help me to a more degree get me to my goal? So that's definitely, mindset is the answer to your question.
That's a really good answer. That's a really, really good answer. And actually, it's going so, it matching really well the podcast because it says the endless mindset. So it's actually your answer that a mindset is what, how important it is. Mindset is, well, yeah, it's like, it's a really, really good answer. Like, if everything starts here, doesn't it? Everything. So, it really depends on how you deal with it, not just in business, in everything in life. It's all about the mindset, isn't it? So yeah, that's a
Mhm.
fantastic answer. And
Thank you.
what would you think was like your biggest achievement? Let's go the complete opposite.
Okay, so biggest achievement, without a doubt, is my family. Like I think, I grew up.
Oh,
Yeah, thank you. And I'm not just saying that. Genuinely, I grew up as a teenager thinking, hey, gonna be bachelor life for me, and that sort of thing. And it's weird how things just come together. And I've now got a beautiful boy, and sort of fiance, and yeah, just really proud and happy about that. And I guess business wise, something which I didn't expect. Again, this is the theme. This is things which in life I never really thought would happen. I in school hated writing and hated any academic sort of stuff. And last year I was with Hospitable Hosts and became a best-selling co-author of Hospitable Hosts, which
I've read it. I've read
oh,
it.
amazing, amazing. So this is Jodie Sterling. I'll give a shout out to her and her publication company. Yeah, and if anyone's interested in becoming a co-host writer or anything like that, check out hospitablehosts.com. It's got people like Julie George, Mark Simpson, of course, is in it, and she's now doing the next book. The next book is coming out soon, so anyone could be, if anyone out there thinks that you couldn't write a chapter, it's amazing that once you do. And then now it's got me thinking, well, if I can do that, I could probably, it's the mindset thing, I could probably write a book if I put my mind to it.
Yeah, wonderful. To be fair, she did ask me when the first book came out, and I've been tagging her everywhere because I was reading the book.
Mhm.
She asked me if I want to be on the second one, but then we didn't communicate since. So am I just gonna get in touch? Am I just gonna get in touch?
100%. Drop her a message. 100%. That would be awesome to hear your story, Lenks, and um, just in general. It's also a good. This is Julie George's words coming out of my mouth. It's the best business card you can have because, um, you know, as soon as you're in a book, you're recognized as a somebody who's worth listening to, isn't it? And there's also the
Yeah.
fact that that printed word will live on probably past us. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't think it's going to become like the best book ever or anything like that, but it's just nice to have something which is in print where potentially future generations can look back and read.
Absolutely. And it's also great to just basically you can read about so many different stories. It's like when you said about your podcast, it's like you interviewing in theory, basically you're interviewing a same thing, yeah. You interviewing holiday operators, SA operators, which you would think that eventually will be like the same, but it's not, because every single person comes with a different story. Every single person has different plans for their business. Everybody's running their business differently. And Hospitable Hosts is exactly the same thing. It's a book full of different stories from around the world of people running holiday-led businesses. Some of them, they have B&B, some of them have a rent-to-rent, everybody's got different, like some of them, they're just having like a family businesses, some people they're growing in with business partners, and so it's really, it's just and they're relatively short, because you got so many different stories, so it's not like you can get lost in one. So it's like, that was interesting. Who's next story? That is really cool. So
it was good fun. It was good fun as well to be part of it. And the launch parties were great in London. Got to meet a lot of the other sort of authors.
Cultures.
Yeah, it was good fun.
Oh, amazing. Well, I should get in touch. Definitely. Oh, amazing. Right. Liam, what is like your like what's your plan for your business? Like, how are you seeing your business go for like this year, for the next 5 years, or you planning to grow your business, or you want to go to different sectors of property, or what's your plan?
So I'm quite boring in this. I'm just planning to steadily grow. I know that isn't as exotic as some people. I've got no plans to go national. I've got no plans even to change location. We're just based in Norwich, and Norfolk is beautiful. There's a lot of places I can go to where we've actually trialed units and things like that. But what I want to do is just niche down, just squarely in Norwich, high quality, perhaps higher quality than I've already got, sort of decor and more of what I've got. Plan is to scale to 30 units this year, which should be very achievable. I'm planning to buy my first serviced accommodation unit as well, so that was always on the roadmap to actually buy. So I'm thankful for that. And we start to put offers in this last couple of weeks, which is cool. Yeah, it's exciting and scary. Again, that's that mindset going, oh my God, now I'm actually,
because you're doing something new. So it's like it's a natural human feeling. Is that sort of like, oh, this is new. Oh, it kind of like the first barrier, isn't it? Like it's new, it's scary for the body,
100%.
something you haven't done before.
It's that uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable, but we've got to go through it, and we're going to learn a lot along the way, which is cool. So we plan to buy a first one of those, and then other than that, continue to coach with Boostly, help them with websites. I'm also planning
building my website at the moment. You superstars.
Yeah, your website is going through, so it's really helping out more people in that way as well. And potentially by the end of the year, we're going to release a digital product as well, which is going to serve the hospitality community sort of more globally, which I'm not going to say much more than that, because it is it's something which I'm working on at the moment, which is going to be cool.
Wow, amazing. Yeah, I can't wait to see your like, I won't say the growth, but I mean, as you said, you don't need to be growing, to hundreds and hundreds of properties. Growth can be even if you just get another one or two. You're doing it your pace and all that. Like, it's similar to me. Like, my plan is to go. I wanna have some abroad as well. Like, I have a particular place when I want to have a place abroad, or like my boyfriend's up north in the UK, so I want to get a few units up there. But same, like, I'm not chasing hundreds and hundreds of units. Just doing it your pace, for how it's making you happy, and that's amazing. And it suits you as well, your personality, because you're very, I love that vibe about you, and you're like, you're calm and happy and lovely little, person, and it's like, it suits you that way as well,
I'm laid back. Somebody did describe me once. If I was laid back anymore, I'd be lying down.
I love that. No, that's brilliant. No, so yeah, it really suits you. And as I said, we've been online friends for a very long time now, and I watched your journey as well, and so it's like, you are so inspiring, and I can't wait to see now what like when you get a next unit and what you're going to do with it and things like that. Are you planning to grow your rent-to-rent business as well, or just the management?
Just the management, and the reason for that is the rent to rent side of things has certainly been our bread and butter, and that's literally done exactly what it needed to. It needed to cash flow us, to learn the systems for us to grow. Management has got zero risk at all, zero risk to us as a business. So I like to be a bit careful, and because it's got zero risk and it's easy to grow, and now we've got the systems in place, we can grow that, making an infinite return on the investment with any of the rent to rents, which cash flow higher initially, and certainly built up the cash flow to allow us to do what we've done. There could be regulation, there could be things that happen. So in terms of how I want to scale in my business is different. It's not to say that rent to rent doesn't work, and it definitely has done for us, but it's just a case of that's I can only grow. I want to focus on one thing, and it's going to be the management.
Nice. Yeah, as you said, it's loads of people do that as well when they start with rent to rents. As you said, it's a higher cash flow, but it's obviously higher risk. But at least it gets you to the game. And any mistakes you do, at least you do it on your own property and not somebody else's, which obviously then the world will spread, and it might be much harder to maybe get more contracts in the future, or at least in the beginning. So yeah, at least you learn if you make any mistakes or anything you did on your own property, and then you can, when you start taking other people's property on, at least you are a bit more, at least you're knowing more what to do and what not to do, basically.
Exactly, 100%. And the good thing is, because I've still got some rent to rents, anything we want to test, we can test on those. So they're kind of a great thing to have. And I'd also be open. It's not to say I wouldn't go for rent to rents. It's just that I'm not going to actively
look for them.
Not actively look for them. So if one lands on my lap, and it cash flows 100%, I'll do it. But it's where the focus is. They say where focus goes, opportunity grows, isn't it, or something like that, or something like that. Yeah.
And do you but if someone's offer you a holiday let, do you just take anything on, or do you have any criteria people have to like match? So let's say the design or the areas or parking or whatever.
So in the early days, quite honestly, I'd take anything on. In the early days, it was a case of that, say yes and figure it out. Now we're much more strict about what we take on. So a lot of the time we're actually saying no these days. And it's got to be a win-win-win is what I describe to the client.
Okay.
So yeah, it's got to be a win for the guest first and foremost. If not, they're not going to continue to stay. We're not going to get the demand. So it's got to be somewhere they want to stay. It's got to be of good quality, and that varies. Obviously, the market is having an increase in quality of decor and that side of things. And then it's got to be a win for the client. Are they going to actually make more doing service accommodation, short-term rental with us, than if they was to do a buy to let or one of the other strategies? And then finally, it's also got to be a win for us if it could match the first two, but if it's a 1-bedroom apartment which would cash flow very minimal compared to the work, then we wouldn't always say yes to it as well. So that's kind of our criteria now, and very much in a particular area. As I say, we get opportunities outside of Norwich, and so we pass that over to other operators.
Amazing, well done. It's basically not chasing shiny pennies, which is so important. As you said, it's really easy to done in the beginning, because you kind of like, oh, I have another one. But then you kind of like learn, isn't it? You need to realize that some certain properties can actually damage your business, damage your name. So it's really important to have the mindset. Again, everything goes to mindset, where you just realize that, you know what, I'm not gonna chase the shiny pennies, like, oh, it's just a little extra income there or something. It's like, no, the guests are not happy, this can damage my business, that's not gonna work. Yeah. So yeah, well done.
Exactly.
Really important.
Exactly.
Liam, what would be like your top three tips from Liam from your journey? It could be something you've learned as a positive, negative. What could it be, like the 3 top tips from Liam?
So I'll give 1 which is general, and then 2 which are more holiday let sort of based. So the first thing which I'd say tip wise, and this is something which I wish I'd have done in the early days, and that is to document and record everything you do. So I now use Loom, which is a free bit of software where you can record whatever you're doing. I used to think that I did document and things like that, but I now realize in the early days I didn't record everything. So the first time you set up a property, make sure you're writing down where you're getting the stuff from, how much it's costing, literally document as much as you can. And even if you can, record on Loom how you're listing the property the first time you do it on, say, Airbnb or in whatever business you're in. This is, you could use this, you could adapt it for any business. But yeah, for me, having those processes recorded has really helped, especially then when I'm hiring staff. And now, instead of spending my time, if there's a task that somebody says, hey, how do you do this? Or if somebody says, how, what's the best way to list, or what's the best way to do this? I'll just go to Loom and I'll search that topic and I'll see what I've already recorded. And it might be years old now, but I can still share that with reasonable confidence that that's going to help, the person or the employee. And I even did it last night. There was a video. I was literally just tinkering with my listings on Airbnb, and I thought, do you know what? Hey, let's just record what I'm doing, and that now turns into a bit of training content, which is cool. So, number
Amazing.
one, yeah, use Loom to record and
Is
document.
it LOOM?
LOOM, yeah, and it's free, which is amazing. I can't believe it's free. Honestly, you have to pay over a certain level, but it's great to get started with.
Yeah, amazing. That I've got it written down.
Nice.
That's an amazing tip. Love that. So that was
Awesome.
number one.
So number one, and number two, and this is going to be more aimed towards people doing short-term lets. And I see this on all the platforms that nobody replies to reviews like they should do. So when somebody reviews you, when you've got somebody come and stay with you and they leave a review, we've got the option to then reply to that review. If it's on Airbnb, you can do it. If it's on booking.com, you can do it. If they've reviewed you on Google, you can do it. But wherever the reviewers come in, just make sure that you're replying to it. It does two things. The first thing is that if you're anything like me, when I go and book somewhere or even go to a restaurant or see a film, I'll go to the reviews almost. That'll be the second or third thing that I'll do after I find what I'm looking for. And in that review section, I'll just have a read of the top few reviews. And then if there's a reply from, say, the restaurant on TripAdvisor, you can really gauge how much, how invested that company is in its guests or in its customers. And that is one of the things which I really think that all hosts should be doing is replying to reviews. And you can also then use that box to give more information. So one thing that I always do in the reviews, maybe not every single one, but in most of them, is we reply hinting to come and book with us direct. Come and search Ginger and Gold Limited, Norwich, and you can come and book with us. And of course, because we've got a direct booking website through Boostly, people can then go and find that. So they might have seen the review on Airbnb, gone and looked at the what people are saying, seen our reply, and then come and found us direct, which is cool. So yeah, tip number two is reply to all reviews. And again, I guess you can apply that to any business, but particularly in hospitality.
Yeah, love that. Well done. I love that. That's a very good one as well. Very good one.
Thank you.
And number three?
Number three is, and I got this from a book. I can't remember the name of the book. That's the guy who invented or grew the Marriott hotel chain, and it's all
Yes.
about.
I don't know, but yeah.
It's an amazing book, and the sum of it really is give a reliable experience every time. So no matter what business, again, I guess you can apply this. This is meant for hospitality, but you can apply it to any business. He talks about a time where he went to a hairdresser, and it basically was a different experience every time he goes. So if you used to go one time, they might give you a cup of tea and give you a head massage before cutting your hair. The next time you might go there and they might just give you a glass of water, still give you a head massage, still give you a good haircut,
As you have lots of experience in.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah, completely. I used to, but the next time you go, if you go there and they don't give you a cup of tea and they don't give you a head massage and it's different, all of a sudden you get to a stage where you go, well, what am I paying for? Why is the price the same but the experience is different each time? And what I've taken from that is when you've got a customer come and stay with you in your hospitality business or whatever business you're in, try and make it so that experience is reliable, that they know exactly the feel that they're going to get. They know exactly the contact points. and they know what they get as the value for money, and that will encourage people to rebook. So a couple of ways, actionable stuff that you can do, which I do in my business, is I use a video introduction. So when somebody first books, it gives it shows a video of myself who's welcoming them, thanking them for booking. They know when the information is going across in a digital guide, which is cool. And they know that will always come along 1 week before their stay, which is cool. And then also afterwards, when it comes down to, or after the book, things like recommendations, have you got a digital guide as recommendations that you can send out to them? So our experience, whether somebody stayed a year ago or today, it should be consistent all the way along, and to test out that guest journey. And you can do that, as I say, in any business, but particularly in hospitality, you want to go and book your own place or get a friend to book your place, and just see if that journey is the same across a couple of properties. And yeah, that's my tip for number 3.
Amazing. Love it. Absolutely love it. I've been making notes the entire time.
Awesome. That's a good sign. That's a good sign, definitely.
Yeah. And I'm also part of the Boostly Academy now. So it's like, I'm just going to learn so much from you guys. I'm just going to suck at all the information.
Awesome. And do you know what? Genuinely, the Boostly Academy is somewhere where I continually learn as well. So it's from other hosts, and from Mark Simpson obviously is a big part of it, and the people he brings in. It's cool to have that melting pot of ideas, because hospitality changes so quickly. And
yeah, and it is fantastic. Like and it's like what I love as well about it is like now these days what I'm trying to do is I will write in my to-do list, I mean in my diary. So let's say if I just want to do, let's say 15 minutes or 20 minutes or half an hour of a Boostly Academy, but I want to make sure that I'm consistently doing it. And coincidentally, every time I write down a amount of time, I go and the actual chapter, it's that long.
it's that time.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
and I'm literally like, it meant to be.
Well, it goes to show that you don't need to, a lot of these actionable tips. The trouble is, think most people listen to stuff and don't then go and do whatever it is. Whereas we'd rather people listen to, spend 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever the segment is, listening, and then 10 minutes doing, and your chances of getting a booking from it is just so much higher. Just from that action.
It's the amount of things I've already I made a note on my tablet. So every time I start, like I have a Boostly Academy folder now, and every time like so I'm just making lots of notes, and then what I was planning to do is that I'll just go once a week, then I'll just go back and then action absolutely everything. I mean, I won't obviously action things as I go, but I'm doing the exercises, etc., and then I want to be like, right, okay, this is what I need to do.
Yeah, I mean, some of them are literally just writing down, just getting it into words, isn't it? So it's cool. And, it's cool. I hope it helps and you get some bookings from it.
Yeah, I'm sure you will. So yeah, thank you so much. Wonderful, absolutely wonderful tips. Now, Liam, I always ask my guests 2 things when we get into the end of the episode. Is one is, do you have any recommendation for a book which you would say that it changed your life, either in business or mindset, whatever that would be? What book?
So book wise, I'll stay away from everybody always says Rich Dad Poor Dad, don't they? So I'll stay away from that one. So there's 2, there's one in particular.
I love the fact it's like hint. It's like I didn't say it. I'm gonna stay away from that.
I didn't say it. I mean, everybody knows about that book who in business anyway. But so there's 2 books which deserve a mention. The first one was that I wouldn't be doing anything that I'm doing now if it wasn't for Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. And the whole concept of that book is just that, everything we see around us, from, the technology to even the chair we're sitting on, came up as somebody's idea originally. And that from that idea, they've cash flowed, they've made a career and a lot of money out of it. So the idea that you can think of anything and potentially that could be your ticket to making some good money, which is cool.
Yeah, amazing. Did you know that they turned it into a movie now? Grant Cardone is one of the main.
I need to see it. I still haven't seen it. I'm a proper movie geek, as we say, but I need to see that. Just I want to find out more, and then I know
it's gonna be just full of very successful entrepreneurs like Elon Musk, Grant Cardone, and all those.
That's going to be amazing. That's going to be amazing. So, they made a movie about his life as well. That's what I thought you were referring to. They made a movie about Napoleon Hill's life and that. So I'm gonna have to go and check that out at some stage.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna write it down. The
But
one I'm talking about, I've checked, and it's not on anything like Netflix, Amazon, or any of that. I think you kind of like they're making their own promotions online, and you kind of like you have to buy the access. So at the moment, I couldn't find that anywhere else. You just kind of have to like pay for to get the access to that movie. So I think they have their own little like streaming website or something for it.
I'll check it out definitely. So the other book which I've got to mention is Clockwork by Mike Mihalowicz. So if anybody hasn't checked that out, it's an amazing book, and it really sometimes you get books which come along at the right time when you need it to come along. And for me, that came along at the right time just as I was trying to systemize my business a bit more. And it basically talks about how every single business can be broken down into very actionable and repeatable systems that you can then grow, and you can then get members of staff to help you with, and so your business eventually runs like clockwork. And the four kind of areas that it makes you think about: every single business runs on acquisitions, which is marketing, trying to get the message out there. Conversions, which are sales. So for us, we could say, we show our places on Airbnb, for instance. When they purchase, that's the conversion. The delivery of the product is the third section, and of course that's where we spend a lot of our time as hosts, is physically delivering the product. And the last one is cash flow. They call it ACDC. And the cash flow side of things, how you make sure the money's coming in, but also how you're doing all the admin stuff. The fact you've got to be compliant with certain regulations and all that sort of stuff falls underneath that. And as soon as you split your business down into those four sections, you can really see which part of your business needs the most attention, fix that, and then move on to the next part, and your whole business starts to run a little bit faster and a little bit more efficient, which is cool.
That's amazing. Love that. I should check that out as well. So yeah, thank you so much for those recommendations. That's amazing.
No
Love it,
worries.
love it, love it. And yeah, so I shall definitely check out the book. Sorry about that. I'm just gonna hear my dog downstairs. And
I can't hear it. I don't think it's recording, so we can't hear it.
yeah, no, I think he just managed to open the door downstairs. So
Oh,
yeah,
bless.
gonna have to gonna well, he kind of like he knew that it's almost over. So last question, which I always two last questions. When you would if you would recommend something to watch, what that would be on the TV?
Okay, so TV wise, I'm a proper nerd when it comes down to watching major TV series. So I love things like Stranger Things and Breaking Bad and all of the kind of binge worthy series. So anything like that. But if you want something a bit more inspirational, then any of the famous kind of millionaires and billionaires have documentaries. So there was a great one on Richard Branson recently, a 4-part documentary on Richard Branson from
Nice.
Virgin, and that's awesome. Yeah, and there's ones on like Warren Buffett, Bill Gates. There's some amazing ones out there, and honestly, I watch those and I analyze what they've done well, and just writing down some of their successes and just seeing their journey is inspirational. So yeah, I'll check out those.
I love that. I'm a huge fan of documentary is my favorite genre. So yeah, I love that. And biographies. So I shall check that out. That's a great advice. Now, Liam, for those who want to find you and follow you, where can we find you? Tell us.
Okay, so easiest way to find me is probably, well, anyone on Facebook, just search Liam Carolan, send me a friend request. Instagram is is at Liam SA Carolan. I'm on LinkedIn too. If you do want to go check out my hospitality business, you can go to gingergoldltd.co.uk. Yeah, and if anybody a bit like yourself, Lenx, who needs a website or wants a website, you can go and check out boostly.co.uk. Where there's a WhatsApp group you can join, and that comes straight through to me, so I can answer any questions. And more broadly, if anybody does have any questions about hospitality or just needs some help with their business, send us a message on one of those platforms. Let me know what the question is, and I'll send you one of my Loom videos, which, if I can, help you.
Amazing. That's wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Liam, for today. Honestly, like I really, really, really enjoyed having you. I was so excited for this episode, and rightly so. This is really enjoyed having you. So you shared, I love your story. I love all your tips and golden nuggets you've been sharing all the way through as well. It's very inspiring. Your story is very inspiring. And I'll just, yeah, really grateful you came on the show. And I'm just wishing you all the success and this year for the exact grow as you want, etc., etc. All the best. And yeah, thank you ever so much for coming on the show. Is there anything else you would like to add before we sign off today?
I'd just like to say thank you so much, Links. I'm really grateful to be here and to share my story, but also, I'm excited to see what you're doing with the future, and that I know the future's bright. And I just think there's such an opportunity, and I love doing things like this where we get to chat. This is the new having a coffee, isn't it? On and doing these sort of things. The last bit of advice I'd sign off with, is really to say that I try and do one action every day that brings me closer to that goal. And I'd recommend that everybody listening tries to do the same.
Nice. I love that. Basically, be 1% better every day. Just do
Exactly that.
something towards your business. Exactly. Well done. I love it. Honestly, that was amazing episode. I'm sure that the listeners learn a lot today. So yeah, I can't wait to share this episode with others. I'll let you know when it goes live. I think in like a couple of weeks. But yeah, Liam, I'm gonna have to go because my dog is
No worries. I can hear
I
you.
think he needs to go to toilet.
That's cool.
So
That's
thank
cool.
you ever so much. And yeah, have a lovely rest of the day.
Thanks very much. Bye for now.
Bye.
Cheers.